Look at this
I don't know,
dude.
he
Wait till you see the. No, 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 no.
I swear to God,
Yeah,
if you're
so
the top
let's
damage
see what my
dealer,
actual damage was, because the damage counter is so wrong.
oh my God! Oh my God!
Well,
Oh my God!
yeah, so
Hi, I'm Leo. For some time now, I have been looking for ways to make assassin builds more interesting since I suck at Acrobat. Recently, I took a look into poison abilities and how poison works in general, and what I found goes far beyond that. Back in the olden days of Cassius Gray's Prime, poison damages applied to an enemy used to block each other. As soon as one player would apply poison damage, no other poison damages could be applied. This crippled players with high poison outputs when playing alongside people with low poison outputs. At some point, Wynncraft fixed this issue by allowing poison damages to stack between different players. What exactly did that look like? For example, this is me with 4 Saconite, the highest poison damage for assassins. If I hit a mob, it gets poisoned for 3 seconds. If I hit it again, while it's already active, the new hit just gets voided instead of prolonging the poison's duration or applying a new poison independently. This is Cash and Great and I, each using a poison weapon. These poison values are being applied individually, as seen by the timing of the dummy's damage ticks. However, we noticed an odd scenario in the 2-player example. This is just us wearing contrasts and using 0 poison weapons, and only one of us can have the poison active. If the poison value between players is identical, they will not stack. At the moment, poison damage is checking if the total value applied is identical. This explains why 2 players wearing contrast aren't applying individual poison stacks, but 2 differently valued poison weapons are. This seems to make sense since it would be unlikely for 2 players with high poison outputs to have the same total value, and the damage is negligible for players who have low poison output. If poison is checking for the total value applied, then are there any other checks for things like the player that the poison damage comes from? The answer is no. As long as a single player is applying different poison values, those values will stack. The only feasible way of doing this is by swapping weapons with different poison rolls. A follow-up question to this is, how many different poison values could one person possibly apply at once? The answer is 7. This is symbolic of the number of open slots in your hotbar. Remember, all we need for poison to stack is to have different poison values applied. If 7 different items all have unique poison identifications, we can stack poison for each one. The ability to stack poison is best accomplished through an efficient cycle depending on attack speed. A 7-weapon cycle first becomes feasible at normal attack speed, but can become easier at higher attack speeds. At slower speeds, the number of poisons you can stack in 3 seconds is reduced, and the overall damage is lowered. When trying this on a dummy, it seems very simple. However, cycling through your hotbar like this is not exactly easy.
First of all, the way that you swap weapons in the cycle must be in order. For example, snaking back and forth with the scroll wheel will apply some poisons quicker than others, and would void some of that poison damage. The method that I have found to be the most comfortable is to rebind the first slot of my hotbar to a mouse button. This way, I can scroll through my hotbar in a more fluid motion. If mouse buttons are not an option, keys adjacent to your movement keys could do the trick. Quite often, I find myself accidentally skipping weapons or not switching to the next weapon in time. If you lose your position in the cycle, it's best to simply reset at the start of your hotbar. In the real world, you and your targets will be pretty mobile. You'll also want to have to cast spells at some point. This is why it's important to practice and get comfortable using the scroll wheel in this fashion.
When we discovered all of this, there was no way we could resist attempts to turn this into a viable build. Starting with the class, we decided on Shaman being the best for poison builds using this mechanic. This is because Shamans have some of the highest poison damage items in the game. Also, unlike most archetypes in Wynncraft, the Ritualist archetype has various abilities that stay active while switching weapons. Specifically, the 3 masks provide us with extra survivability and movement, especially with Awakened. We also use Totemic Shatter and Devil Totem to speed up our ability to heal. In a pinch, Rain Dance can also apply poison damage to mobs if you don't have the ability to stop and cycle damage. In our early iterations of this build, we were using high poison items that required dexterity. This cost us quite a few skill points, and we later came across a better poison setup that didn't waste as many skill points. The build now focuses on strength, defense, and preferably agility. We chose Spleen Splitter for this build since it has the second highest poison output in the game, and has a manageable attack speed. Toxoplasmosis would be the ideal weapon for this, but mythic items aren't cheap, and we would have needed to buy 7 of them. I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to spend that much money on something as crazy as.
So, we bought 7 Toxoplasmosises in order to push this build to its full limit. Feels good? Here's how it did.
Oh.
Wow, that felt great, actually. That actually felt really good. Gee, I wonder what the boss damage was.
Oh my god!
Wow, well.
And it wasn't even max poison.
Okay, I survived to the end this time. Had a bunch of people doing actual good damage this time too. So, that's good. 7.7 mil in the boss, if that holds to be true. I wish I was recording. Oh. So it'll just save your life.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh my god, I survived.
Oh my god.
Whether I did top damage, I don't think so, but... Yeah, that guy.
Oh, damn.
Oh! I did
You
22.
did 22. You
I
did
did
22.
22.
This just shows it's a viable build.
It is viable.
But not too OP.
In all, this poison mechanic is pretty incredible, but there are a few things that still need to be addressed. First of all, is this an intended mechanic of poison, or is it going to be removed now that we've discovered it? It is likely that poison stacking is not meant to be this way. However, after spending this much time working on it, we've come to the conclusion that it isn't that broken to play. While the damage can certainly go pretty far, it is not the strongest build out there. Things like Epoch, Tier Stacks, Acolytes, and Lightbenders would all outperform this poison build, and are far easier to physically play. The main concern with this mechanic is the need for 7 of the same weapon. We don't think any build should be required to use that many items just to get to its main source of damage. The idea of poison stacking could be implemented in a different way so that this playstyle can continue to be an option for players. Hopefully, this knowledge on how poison works can bring about some new ideas for spreading and dealing poison damage that can be a viable option for anybody. Second, what else is there to know about poison? Leo and I have spent a lot of time trying this stuff out, but we certainly did not cover everything. For example, we found that the Plague Major ID seems to have the proper checks to prevent a single player from stacking damage. We're really not sure how this works, and there are many other scenarios with Plague that have surprisingly different results. There are many abilities for all classes that may interact with poison in interesting ways. We have not tested all of these, and hopefully the door is open for us to continue uncovering the quirks of poison damage. I want to reiterate that we do not expect this mechanic to exist forever. Poison does tend to get shadow changes every once in a while, and while we would love for this niche mechanic to stay in the game somehow, that decision is up to Wynncraft's team. Lastly, I'd like to thank you all for listening to Leo and I ramble about insignificant Wynncraft mechanics. It's taken us a long time to really solidify our findings, and we're glad you found it as interesting as we did. This would also be my first Wynncraft video. It's not something I regularly make videos for, but let me know if you want to see more from Leo or myself.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And I keep casting. Yeah, I keep casting freaking Uproot, man!